Okay, showing live on. Okay, we're live.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us again for Just Be a Man. Today, we got the usual cast of characters, and I will be your host today. This is Wayne, and we want to talk about the balancing between two worlds. But first, we like to welcome everyone to the show today. We also like to tell you to like, subscribe, and follow us on all of our social media platforms. We're everywhere. You can find us on any podcasting streaming service that you use. We're all over the place. It's Just Be a Man Podcast. Just Be a Man Podcast. And again, thanks for joining. So today we want to start with just kind of talk a little bit about a current topic. And a lot of people are talking about, so we just want to touch on it real quick. And I know everyone already heard about it, but it's Kurt Franklin and his 30-year-old son.
33.
33-year-old son.
Get right, get it tight.
Yeah. So Charles, you got any comments on this? Want to touch on this right quick?
Yeah, the son needs his ass whooped, man. You know, for what he did to his pops, man. That was just foul all the way around. That's the bottom line. I think that a lot of people, at least in the beginning, were coming down on Kirk a little bit, but now it's swung way in the direction of bringing the smoke towards the son, and rightfully so. He tried to set his dad up. He knew it would hurt him, and he did it anyway. So as far as I'm concerned, he deserved all the smoke that he's getting, man.
The only thing Kirk Franklin did wrong was apologize.
Yep, I agree with that.
That's the only thing Kirk Franklin did wrong.
So we got a bunch of fathers here. So these are some things that are definitely relatable. Mike, you got any comments on
you damn
God's
right.
property?
First of all, sons of bitches. First of all, let me tell you something. Man, the boy, 33 years old. First of all, he set his pops up. Evidently, the way things went down, they really got a serious fracture in their relationship. And that's something that they should have dealt with outside of social media. Like you said, the son set him up, tried to hurt him. Something's going on with the son where if he wants to take it to the point where he wants to derail his father's career or do something to his career, there's something seriously wrong there. I mean, I understand what Kurt's saying. He's saying one thing, the son's saying another thing, the daughter's saying something. There's that story, your story, and then there's the truth. You understand what I'm saying?
Grown-ass man.
Right. So there's some things that need to be straightened out between the family, for real. And I mean, I've been through, situations like that, and I'm telling you right now, there's something seriously wrong with his son. He's feeling empty some kind of way. And I understand Kurt is busy and do his thing, but they need to square that away, like really square it away somewhere off camera, off social media. Go away somewhere, both of them. Go away to Hawaii somewhere, walk on the beach, talk it out.
Only one of them coming back.
Do whatever, and
Right.
leave it alone.
Only one of them coming back.
No, we'll bring a cameraman.
One of them gonna be God's property for real.
But they really need to work it out, though. That's all I gotta say. I think it's serious like that.
Yo, Steph. Go ahead, Chuck. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, Kirk's getting a lot of flack because, at least from what I'm seeing from the church folk, because he should have conducted himself better. A man of God is not supposed to be using that kind of language, cursing and this, that, and the other.
Nope.
And why not? Why not? He is a man first.
Absolutely.
He is a father.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, I think the Lord will understand.
No doubt.
Steph.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead, Steph. What you got?
Well, first, sac passe to our Haitian Masif. Just want to say hello to people from
How many pancakes you want?
No, sac passe. Sac passe. Anyway.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah,
Don't be trying to go bilingual on us.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, they're
Just
tuning
showing
into
off,
us,
man.
You know what I'm
so
saying?
we need to at least say hello to them. So hey, we appreciate
out
you
to
all
Haiti.
listening. Thank you.
Shout out to
Shout
Haiti,
out to Haiti.
Haiti
That's
in the
right.
house.
Republic. That's right. All the other places that soak us up.
That's right. Exactly. Now back to Kurt Franklin. I'm a grandson of a preacher, and I never heard him cuss. But I know he could have gotten, ghetto. He's a man first. And this is a 33-year-old man that's challenging his father. All right. Now, granted, they do have a family therapist. And part of it, they said that they're trying to reach the family therapist. But that was not put in the message I got out.
Of course.
So, this 33-year-old needs to grow up he needs to find out what his issues are. They can work on it as a family, but really, you can cut him off at 33.
Yeah. So,
But you know what? Go ahead, Wayne.
I was gonna say real quick. I think we got 5 fathers here that have dealt with children at many levels.
Different
Maybe
ages.
not a 33-year-old necessarily, but you can. These kids will make you lose your religion in a second.
All day long.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
So-
no
All
doubt,
day
man.
long.
Absolutely.
So you forget who you are. You turn into something else. So I know, like the church people or whoever trying to act like holier than thou. Please, and
Hey, shoot, I could look at Pastor Jenkins from First Baptist Church of Glenarden. I know he'll cuss.
Oh, Pastor Battle Cups. I know it. Listen,
they just because they choose not to, don't mean they don't know how to.
listen.
So
you
The
heard-
fact of the matter is, it was a private matter. So
they made it
listen,
public.
Yeah.
he was out of pocket for recording
Yeah.
it. That is the
And-
bottom line. I mean, it's clear that he was trying to set his pops up. That's what it was
Right,
all about, man.
It was
Dirty.
premeditated. It was
Dirty.
Right. And
premeditated.
the thing about it is that the way Kurt, if you listen to his voice, and fathers know when you get to that scratchy part of your voice, you mean business.
Mhm.
Somebody was at their wits end. You was
Oh,
at your
yeah.
wits end. When you get it, when your thought, listen, you already know. You had it.
Right.
So Kurt had it with the nonsense. I guess the son had it with the nonsense, and he didn't know how to handle it. So he, unfortunately, he took the low road and did the recording thing. But everybody knows you get to that point. So evidently, there's something there. They got to work it out. And I don't hold anything against Kurt Franklin. He's a man first, and an entertainer, and a man of God, and everything else. But my thing is that a father's a father. A human being is a human being.
Mhm.
But people in the limelight are held at a different standard, and that's what our show is about: double standards.
Well,
There you go.
let me just throw something out there real
Go
quick.
ahead.
Based on what Mike said. So, and he's 100% right. They should try to work it out. But at 30, their relationship was already somewhat strained, obviously. At 33 years old, he set his father up, whatever. He knows his father's a public figure. Can they come back from this? Can they repair this damage? Can that happen?
Yes, they can, but it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But,
Okay.
and it's a trust issue.
Yeah.
Well, what they
I mean-
have going in their favor, Chuck, is they have unconditional love. You know what I mean? It's still a father-son relationship. So
Mhm.
although he hurt his father, yeah, absolutely, you could come back from it. But dude, he's got to show some humbleness.
Now this isn't just hey, me outing you to the family or whatever. He put this man on out internationally.
Mhm.
It can
No
not only.
question.
We're not talking about damaging him financially. I'm talking about if this had gone the wrong way, let's say
Mhm.
he's Kirk Franklin. He can't move.
Mhm.
And your child did this to you.
Pain,
It's crazy.
man,
It's crazy.
Pain
But
will
I-
make you do some crazy stuff, bro. It's pain.
Yes.
I've been dealing with kids for a long time, from the young 10 to 18 or whatever. Pain will have you doing some outrageous things, and that's what
No
it
doubt.
boiled down to: hurt
Yeah.
and pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, everyone's chimed in on this. I thought it made sense for us to kind of touch on this a little bit, and I think everybody put in their little 2 cents, and so that's good. So listen, so the topic for today is balancing between 2 worlds, double standards, whatever you want to call it. And so what I mean by this, and what we're talking about, is it's like learning to live on that line, right? So think about it. You first do this when you're a kid, right? And you you in elementary school or junior high school, and you first learning to cuss and be out there in the street cussing, and you be wilding out. But you know when you bring your ass in the house, prim and proper. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
No,
sir.
sir. So I'm saying, so you never slip up, right? Because you learning early that I could do this out here. I can't do that in there, right?
Mhm.
It's a different thing. So I'm gonna start with you, Steph, and I'm gonna say, your career has been in the military, and as an officer, moving through the ranks and everything. So talk a little bit about walking that line, about being a Black person, and also having to deal with someone knowing that they might not necessarily want you there, and proving that you belong there. Talk about that a little.
Well, I'll tell you, my experience was I normally was the only Black person in the room, at least at the officer level. Every once in a while, I may have another compadre, but normally I was the only black person. So I had to walk the line where I couldn't use slang words. I couldn't, reflect or brag about my HBCU. I just went to a school which happened to be an HBCU. I couldn't say it was the best or even better than the privately white institutions. There were a lot of times where I wasn't welcome in the room, and it was made known that I wasn't welcome in the room, but I made a way in the room anyway. Because it was really, it could be challenging. I've had experience where, matter of fact, and this is one that really touched me as a second lieutenant, as I was on an airborne mission down at Fort Benning, Georgia. It was during airborne school. I made a mistake. Now I'm on an aircraft flying at about 1,500 feet, getting ready to jump out the aircraft, and I made a mistake. And the safety happened to be an E5, which is an enlisted guy, a young sergeant. He said to me, "Fucking nigger." Now I was a second lieutenant, um, and I'm like, oh my god, I could report this guy, I could damage his career, things of that nature. But at the same time, this guy could cut my cord and mess me up and possibly kill me. And since then, whenever I hear the word directed towards me, nigga or whatever, it still bothers me. But so I have to I had to walk that double standard, even though I had the right to report him, but I had to walk that double standard because he could have killed me at the same time.
Okay. All right. All right, Chuck.
Sir.
Chuck. So now your experience is a little bit different, right? So you worked in it as an entrepreneur, so you got a lot of things against you, right? You by yourself in a lot of areas. So speak about some of the things that made it difficult for you, and you trying to still be who you are, but you got to do what you got to do to get where you're trying to go.
Oh, sure. Um, Best way to say this is, you're in business, right? You're in business to make money. But not only that, you gotta pay the bills, keep the lights on, and all that. Um, People, friends, wanting to hook up.
Mm,
You're in
mm.
business. Hey man, can I get a sandwich? This is no, yeah, it costs. You know. Oh come on, we boys. No, look, I gotta look, bro. I love you. That'll never change. But I'm in business. I have employees who depend. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I have to draw the line. There's your friend Chuck, and then there's business Chuck. It's more like instances like that for me where
Yeah,
I've had
yeah.
to, and it's not about cutting anybody off. It's not about. It's about, you know.
Yeah.
But even non-friends, Chuck, I mean, think about some of your customers that would come into your establishment asking for samples and things of that nature
Oh yeah,
when
yeah,
they wouldn't dare do that with the restaurant next door.
yeah.
Right.
I can't tell you how many of those situations that I've had.
There should have been boundaries, man, automatically.
Yeah.
They
They're
shouldn't
not
be
they're not
coming in with the
understanding
assumption.
they're not
They come into
understanding
your restaurant with the
margins.
assumption that's my boy.
Well,
That's my
most
boy.
people don't, right? The best things in life are free. That's what they
Yeah.
always tell you. And hey, and
Yeah.
if that's my boy, that's my boy. My boy hooked me up, right? Yeah, okay. When we're younger, and I'm working at 7-Eleven, and you trying to that's different. All right, go ahead, man. I won't charge you for that. But when we're older now, we're grown. Okay, we have families, we have mortgages, we have and you're still coming saying, hey, man. Um, Give me the hookup. We just have to do better. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I had to
Okay.
draw that line. And it was never, I was never hostile or angry, anything like that. But I have had to have several conversations with a few people. Not mind you, notice I just said I've had to have several conversations with a few people, habitual
Mhm.
offenders. Uh, but yeah, I mean, you have to do that when you're an entrepreneur. You have to, because we've had this conversation before. My paycheck is not guaranteed, right? So if you're working for the government or you 9 to 5, every week or every 2 weeks you have a certain amount of money coming in so you can pay your bills, you put your kids in school. And as an entrepreneur, you don't know that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so every, I mean, it's really true. Every dollar helps,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
every dollar not earned hurts.
Yeah. How about that?
Right.
Okay.
And I
All right,
think,
Chuck.
but I
Go
think,
ahead,
can
Mike.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can hear
Go ahead, Mike.
I think, once again, it goes back to boundaries, man. It's like if I come to patronize your shop, I know you, my man, and everything. I'm gonna come every day because I like the food, whatever. If I order a 12-piece wing and you happen to throw 14 in there, and I get home like, oh, I'm not expecting that, but I'm gonna keep patronizing. But if that's our relationship and that's what you want to do, if that's our thing, then so be it. But it shouldn't come in like, yo, you gave me 14 last time, why you give me 14 this? That's
Right.
not how it goes. And some people need to understand those boundaries when it comes to different things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, and and that's actually happened, and that's become expected,
Yep.
unfortunately.
The
Yeah.
new norm. The new
See.
norm.
Yep.
So, Mike,
Yo.
in your line of work, obviously a little bit different, the corrections, and you count on one another, right, in there because stuff could get serious, right? So speak about that a little bit. Where you got to be Mike the employee versus Mike from New Haven.
Yeah, I think there's a double standard when it comes to executing your job. How you become the leader one day, you're the one post and you're the one who running the unit, and people act a certain way. You got to chase them down. Where you going? Where you going, my man? I'm going on a break. Damn, you gonna let somebody know? What's up? Come on, man. Why you acting like? But when they're the one post, hey, can you come down? Hey, can you? I'm like, yo, you call my name like 5 times. I said, listen, if you're gonna do that, we need to do the same thing. There can't be a double standard. If I'm gonna work the way you want me to work, then you got to work the way I need you to work. You know what I mean? And it goes both ways like that. But I think the double standard for me was that I think what happened to help me out is that you got to know when to turn it on and turn it off. Just like when we go outside and we with our boys, we hanging out, we talk that issue, whatever, we get inside, we're respectful with the fam and everything else. Same thing with the job. There's certain etiquettes that you have to do. And we learned that when we were little.
Mm-hmm.
You don't act like that. How many times we done got pinched or got tightened up because you know better than that? How many times we done heard that? You don't act like that out there with me, whatever. How many times? We know. So it's ingrained in me not to act a certain way. I know how to act when we're together, but when we're around, like I said, if I come, hang out and we together and we all talking ish to each other, I know I'm not gonna talk that same ish if I'm in the presence of the fam because they might not understand it. They might misconstrue it or whatever, but they know we crazy. But I think there's a level, there's boundaries to the double standard, but I think that you just have to be focused on what you need to do. There's going to be double standards no matter where you go. Even in the professional realm, you'll see how certain people are treated differently than other people, as Charles talked about in his executive career. The same thing when it comes to that, certain people are able to do certain things. Can I go in the kitchen and grab something for this kid? No, you can't do it. 15 minutes later, you're on the unit, somebody bringing up some waffles for themselves. I'm like, how the hell you get, such and let me in the kitchen. Ain't this a bit, you know what I mean? So, I mean, but you gotta know when to let things ride and when not to ride. But I think it's good when you're well-rounded, you know how to navigate the double standard. You know what I mean?
All
Because
right.
we're so used to it in life,
Yep. All right, like that. So Charles, you come from the corporate background, corporate America, a little bit like me. So speak on. You talked before about having, how someone of the same persuasion kind of held you back. But how is it walking into those boardrooms and you're the only face in there?
Yeah, I mean that's basically been the case for the majority of my career. Unfortunately, you sort of catch it, and we know what the deal is with corporate America, man. You have to be 10 times better than everybody else in order to even be in that boardroom. You know what I mean? So, and even then, your credentials are always in question. I
Yep.
remember when I first got promoted, I was up against some members of the other persuasion going up for the job, and it came down to me and this white woman. Now, here I am with 2 college degrees, heavily credentialed within the company, excellent results, things of that nature. And I'm up against this white woman who doesn't even have a degree at all. So when you think about everything else being equal, that automatically made me more qualified than she was. But you better bet when I got that position, I was still sort of looked at with the side eye as to why didn't this individual get the job over me?
It's
So
crazy.
that is just, that's the norm. But, you have to get in, you have to prove yourself, and you have to be, worthy of the position that you find yourself in. But there's always pressure. I mean, you get it from both sides of the equation. You get it from
Yep.
your own, and you get it from them.
So let me ask you this. Let's move just a little bit away from that. So we all talked about moving between these worlds, and it's not easy, but it's kind of expected, right? So it's not like you can't deal with it. But like just thinking about your psyche, how you feel when like let's say you're trying to you're applying for a new job, or you on the phone with a credit card company, or you want a bank loan, or whatever it is, how what they say, you put out your best, but you put on your white voice.
Code switch.
Yeah, you flip. So we have the ability to flip that switch. Like,
Right.
all right, yo, you can't be talking crazy because you're trying to get a loan.
Yeah,
Right?
but you have to. I mean, speaking of the loan situation, there was a couple, and I forget what state it was in. They had their house up for sale.
Yep.
Okay, and they actually put a white person out in front eventually to pretend like the house was theirs, and the house appraised for like a ridiculous amount of money, higher than it did
50,000.
when when it was actually being sold, um, you know,
To them.
exactly. But it was ridiculous. So
Yeah.
in one instance, you think it's black folks that are selling his house, and the numbers stay low, and then the same exact house being sold by a white person, it skyrockets. So I mean, we're dealing with this in all aspects of our lives, and it's like, how do you coach your kids through that? That's the dilemma that we all face day in and day out.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's important stuff, though. And so the next statement I want to pose to everybody, anyone kind of jump in here, but so there's in your there's a separation between your economic life versus your social life, right? So the way you get your money, you got to act a different way than maybe the way you hang out, right? So let's talk a little bit about your personal style, right? Your clothing, your hair, your walk, your talk. Let's talk about that a little bit. So now think about like this, Mike. So you go into a job, you in corrections, right? And so corrections is a little bit it's a little rougher, right? So they talk slick out there, right? But now you move into a school situation where it's a lot more prim and proper, right? So you gotta dress different, right? You can't get away with the same clothing. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, I hate to say it, but I'm a poster child for Eddie Bauer. I got the khakis.
You got your business casual on.
I got the Thursday boots on. I'm doing my thing, but I think they weren't expecting that, because the people that I'm working with, I guess they've been there long enough where they wear what they want to wear. But I guess you're supposed to be, you're supposed to stay casually dressed up until Friday. Then you can wear your jeans or whatever. When I came in there, I didn't know, I never worked in the public sector. So I come in there, I got the khakis, the shoes, the sweaters, I'm wearing the thermals, the Eddie Bar, this, that, whatever. But I don't think they were looking at me like, damn, every day you come in like this every day. I'm like, well, I thought that's what you do, because I wore a uniform for 21 years. I didn't know. So, I mean, I'm Doc Martin. I mean, I what can I say? My thing is that I feel good because it doesn't feel like a uniform. I'm really feeling comfortable. But I think it says a lot about me, how I project myself, how the kids look at me. And I see the way, and we deal with kids of all different flavors and sizes and like I said, mental capabilities. And even the ones that's on the rougher side of the building, as we say, when they see me, I say, "What's up, man? How you doing? Good, good." We talking. I talk to them a little bit, whatever. But they looking at you. They look at you up and down. They're like, they see me and they don't say anything. But I think they say, okay, he's with the program, whatever. But he still got his flair. I still got my flair. I can still talk to him, or talk up to him, or de-escalate him the way I need to. But I don't let it affect me too much. But I would say it was a big change for me from coming from 21 years of wearing a uniform to actually wearing regular clothes, it was really kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I had to get used to it. But once I did, I know there was a certain way I needed to project myself. So I didn't have a problem with what I was wearing, how I was doing, because whether people thought I was overdressed and it wasn't really like casual, but I think people like every day, damn, except for Friday, he might wear a little something, but every day, this dude is, killing me because everybody wearing jeans, they wearing sweatshirts or whatever, and I'm coming with the collared shirt or whatever. They're like, who is this dude? You know what I mean? But I think it says a lot about how I was raised. You if you're gonna fit the part, you wear your clothes, you exude,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. All right. So Steph, similar, right? You were in a suit, in a uniform for many years.
Yeah, no question about it. I was 22 years, 7 months, and 8 days, but I was never counting. But really, yeah. Once I switched over, I became known as the bow tie guy, and that kind of helped me, because I stood out from the rest, and people respected the fact that I came in with a bow tie that was not a clip-on. I mean, this was a hand-rolled bow tie by myself.
Yeah.
Go on with your bad self.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
But hey, before we get keep moving, one of our viewers talked about being young, black, gifted in technology as a female, and then she went on to say, "Sure, keeping it brief. Like I have so many. There's so many meetings where I've had white peers trying to overtalk me or discount solutions I provided. So of course, when I had to look them dead in the eye and clear my throat and make sure they heard me, then they had to evade the loud black lady moniker. I have found solutions that have had teammates ask me, how did I find that? I'm like, what do you mean? Why didn't you? So, we have challenges, but it's even harder for our sisters.
No doubt.
No
No
doubt.
doubt.
Absolutely.
Challenging,
No doubt.
competency, it's just
Right.
everything. It's crazy.
Hitting on both sides.
Crazy.
So Steph, let me stay with you, right? So
Yeah.
we talked about the personal style. So what about another thing right now, since you've been out of service, you rocking the facial hair
That's correct.
because you couldn't do that before.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
The
That is
full,
correct.
the fuller brush man.
Someone on this podcast called me Comet,
Hilarious.
Comet.
So what's up with that?
Well, it's just now I don't have that restriction. Now I think a couple times it's held me back for some positions because now, I'm not clean shaven like, Walt Disney World, things of that nature, but it's just self-expression now. And it's an opportunity for me just to live my life the way I want to, and rock the beard. I still have a high and tight, it's cut close to the side. So, I can assimilate in the military in a heartbeat. But it's just one of those standards I was able to overcome once I retired.
Okay. So Chuck,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry. I know you had a comment, but I was going to ask you something real quick.
Uh-huh.
So Chuck, you have a son the age I have, same age as me.
Mhm.
Your son comes to you and says, I want to start rocking these braids, Pop, right before I graduate. What do you say?
I say, do you? Now, of course, I give my son. We're all old school, right? And we have this concept of what corporate world and let's be honest, white corporate world wants to see, and they don't want to see us coming in there wearing braids. I'm. I think I'd like to. I'd like to think that I've grown. Back in the day, not too long ago, I would have said to him, "Hey, son, wearing braids in the workplace, it's going to be frowned upon. You might want to try to conform." As awful as that sounds, that's what we do to try to get our place, to, I guess, to level the playing field in the workforce. But I've changed, and I think society is slowly changing. And I would tell my son, be your authentic self. If you decide that you want to wear braids, wear braids. Understand that it's possibly going to be a hindrance depending on the field you choose, whatever. But I'm of the mindset now, you have to allow these kids to grow. You have to allow people to be who they are. And I kind of look back at myself and I feel like, I was kind of forced into a path that wasn't necessarily mine to take. And I don't want that for my kids. Okay. So I've grown a little bit, and so I would tell them, "Hey, you want to wear braids? You wear the hell out of them. You wear the best goddamn braids you can wear." But understand, your dad may be a little more progressive. Corporate America may not have caught up to us yet. So govern yourself accordingly.
All right. So Chuck, right before I asked you that, you was about to say something else.
And I totally forgot.
My bad. My bad.
Nah, no problem.
So let me say this. I mean, this is for myself. When we talk about what you wear to work, right? So I like Charles, I've been in corporate world for quite a bit, and I as a consultant, project manager kind of a person. And I don't know when it was, let's say 10 years ago or so, business casual was the new hot thing. When business casual first came out, I wasn't like, I didn't have the khakis. I didn't have this. I wore suits. When I started, it was suits and ties. So that's what so to me, when I went to business casual, I took off the tie. That was it for me. But I always did that. That's how I went to work. Right. And that became my thing. And I used to have coworkers or even people, my superior on a project saying to me, you don't have to wear a suit. But I still wore a suit. And you know what it did is it made them step their game up. When we sit at the table, people look to me instead of them. Because they see, because of the way I was dressed. And so that stuff matters. Now, Chuck, I hear what you're saying about being progressive with your son and all that. But see, to me, I look at it a little bit different. And this is, I guess, the old school thing is because I'm trying to remove any barrier I can from in front of them. These cats have no idea what they're about to see.
Yeah.
So I'm like, look, my brother came to me one time when he was a little bit younger, and he went to an interview and he had these little braid things in his hair and everything. And he came back all mad because they was judging him. I was like, but they got the job. Yeah. Is their company. They get to say what's good and what's not good. Right. So that's just my opinion, but I feel you. And that's the right thing. That's exactly the right thing to do, what you're saying. But I'm just saying that's hard for me.
Well, yeah, you know the old saying, dress for success. I mean, that goes for your hair as well. I mean, it's your whole appearance. It's all about grooming. In any particular potential company that you may want to interview for, you should know their standards. And that's what I would tell my son. Look, you have to know your audience. So, if you're going to go in here to this Fortune 500 company, let's say, and these older white men and women are going to look at you and say, nah, Tyrone, You know what I'm saying?
But what we're talking,
we live in, unfortunately.
It is the world we live in, but we're talking about a level of conformity. Yep. And we aren't the only race that has to conform. Everyone has to conform to the professional zone. You know what I mean?
Like it.
And that includes white people as well. They can't come in to corporate America looking any kind of way, talking any kind of way.
No
you know
doubt.
what I mean? I mean, a lot of times we equate corporate America to a sort of quote unquote white standard, but I've never downplayed my blackness in any corporate setting at all. I've just been me. I've dressed the way I wanted to dress that made me comfortable. And that's the bottom line. If they couldn't get with it, they couldn't get with it. But you all know me. I don't talk a lot of slang anyway. You know what I mean? Pretty much what you see is what you get with me. So I'm not like going through these plateaus, this roller coaster ride of emotions, dealing with people in and out of these courtrooms. I'm just Charles, and that's the way I deal with them, period. And so, and when I mentor people, when I'm coaching people, even when I talk to my sons, my children, I talk to them about being in the professional zone. Okay, so that's not black, that's not white, that's not Chinese, that's just professional. So if you can operate within, exactly. It's like home training. So if you can operate within that zone of professionalism and do it consistently, then, I mean, I said this to one brother, I said, if you cannot handle your business for 8 hours of a day, then you don't deserve to be in that position. That's the bottom line. So that's the way I look at it.
Okay. All right. So no, that's good, Charles. So let's switch it a little bit, right? So far we've been talking about assimilating or going into dealing with that standard. So let's flip it the other way. So everybody here has a level of success in their own right. So now what happens when you go back to maybe your old neighborhood, or to just like visiting family in other neighborhoods where it's a little grimier? Now what, Mike? Now what? You going back out there in New Haven. You throw your Timbs on and your hoodie. Now what?
Yeah. Well, the thing about I go back and visit my brother, and my brother's he's still out there every now and then. He got one foot out there still. And I go hang out with him and I smell this, I smell that, I hear this or whatever. I just gotta be me, you know what I mean? And I think for me, I'm gonna tell you right now, for some reason, the way I project myself, conversations are really short. Like if my brother, they talking that slang craziness, I'm like, yeah, I know what you're saying, whatever. And they in this, in that, and I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. And I'm keeping it a, just straight conversation, whatever. I'm not yelling, screaming, whatever. They were like, man, listen, he ain't with us. He's not with us. And my brother, all right, let me talk to my brother over here. We got it, whatever. So we step over to the side, we talk briefly. But I think there's a certain persona that you exhibit when you come. The people know that, okay, I can talk the talk, but now the way we have handle a conversation, and we talk and we converse, as they say, it's very limited. It's very limited. I think people talk to you for a while and then they get the gist that you're not the same dude you used to be. You're really about your business. You brought yourself up a level. You're doing big things. The family. Oh, where you been at? Where you live at? I'm up here. Oh, why you way up there? It's not the point why I'm way up there. That's where I decided to land. But the thing about it is I'm here to visit whatever. And I find out a lot when you go to certain areas and talk to different people. I think after a while, they get a gist of whether they can whether they want to interact more or not. And I feel that sometimes when I go to certain places, the conversations are very limited because people are still in that same space 30 years ago. I'm not in that space anymore. When they start talking that nonsense, I'm like, yeah, that's great. Yeah, that was back then. Well, anyway, listen, man, I love you, brother. I gotta go. I'll end it quick. I'll end it quick because I don't got time for it. Remember when you used to, man, listen, I love you, brother, but I gotta go because I'm trying to come see how you doing. I heard you got sick and you want to talk about something that happened in high school. Some dudes just can't get out of that realm and stuff like that,
So true.
Yeah. So Steph, so how they talk about your, you don't want to lose your black card. Ain't gonna be loud back at the BET meeting. So so again, right? This is making sure wherever your environment is or whatever your environment is, you ready for it. As Charles said, be professional, but you gotta be professional kind of at different ways. So Steph, how you deal with that when you get into some of the more grimy areas? Let me take a step back. Let's not make it grind because that's not right. Let me not say it like that. Right. How do you act when you go out there on the yard at homecoming? When you're around all your peoples?
Actually, I kind of avoid most of my peoples on the yard during homecoming because I've learned to separate myself from trouble. At least I try my best to. And the key thing where I'm going with this is that you guys are pretty much my friends. I don't have anybody else except my wife is, of course, my wife is my best friend. Hey, honey. Anyway.
Good answer.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, really, I disassociated myself with people because I wanted to be at a certain level. I didn't want to have to dumb myself down. I can still speak and be cordial, but we really can't have a conversation. And I actually have some family members like that. We really can't have a conversation besides hi, bye, how's your mom's, and other than that, because I want to be at a certain level. I want someone that's going to meet me there and bring me up even higher. So that's how I do it.
Okay. All right. So Charles, I want to go a little bit different here, right? So there's a couple of industries where people can completely express themselves, right? If you look in as an athlete in sports, or you look at even music business, these dudes got tats everywhere on their face, on their head, they wilding out, right? But they're in a position where they are their own brand. They are not dependent on nobody to make, they're dependent on a lot of people, but the way they look, the way they carry themselves, if they could be wearing anything. And again, this goes on the white side too. Those rockers, they be wilding out too. So that's your entertainment. That's your music and your sports. But like, if you look at Hollywood, it's not like there's no really bad boys in Hollywood, right? There's some standards in Hollywood. Like there's nobody who's out there who's wilding out. So what do you think about that? Why is Hollywood, where you have actors who are supposed to be deep thinkers and all this other stuff, how come they don't seem to be out there like your musicians, your music people, or even your athletes?
Hollywood is nothing more than a microcosm of society, right? Which means that they're wilding out just like everybody else is. It's maybe they're not doing it in such a way where it's public, but they are. You know what I mean? Everybody has something going on that they don't want everybody else to see.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, the way I look at it is, to answer your question, I think I think Hollywood in a lot of ways is very pretentious. There are a lot of folks that are out there bringing forth their representative. They're trying to pretend to be something that they're not. And I think if these other people that you described in sports and things of that nature, they're trying to be true to their authentic selves.
Mhm.
And I think at the end of the day, that's where everybody needs to be. You need to be true to yourself. You need to be able to look yourself in the mirror and like what you see, like what you're dealing with, because you have to deal with you day in and day out. And so that's just the way I see it, man. I think
Yeah.
people can spot a fake a mile away. So when you
Facts.
talk about going in and out of these venues and being one way and then being a different way over here, man, if you're not authentic, people know that about you. You
So
know,
yeah, I hear you. But I think there is wiggle room. I think there is a line that people have to walk, and I do think that I think people want to be authentic to themselves, but then, as I was talking about before, there's that social you, which is that inner you or whatever, and then there's that economic you. What would you be willing to do to hurt your money?
I look at it like Charlie Sheen and Johnny Depp. Back in the day, back in the 80s, they were wilding out. I mean, just completely wilding out, and Hollywood accepted it.
Let me say
now-
this, Steph. I got you. I don't mean to cut you off for that, but when I was talking about Hollywood not, I talked about Hollywood in their appearance. Like they have this look as opposed to all tatted up and doing whatever they want because of the way that works. But go ahead with what you're saying. I'm sorry.
Where I'm going with this is the fact that now they're starting to be canceled. The tolerance level, at least in Hollywood, is much lower for wild and out people. So you really have to be undercover. So
Can I say something?
Yeah,
Oh.
go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say that when it comes to those tattoos and everything, a lot of these dudes are self-aware, and a lot of the ladies are self-aware. They know which direction they're going. They know they can't take the tats back. So they already have it in their mind. This is what I'm doing, and I'm gonna do it till the wheels fall off, and let the chips fall where they may. Um, and I think there's a certain area that they know they're gonna go into, and they're okay with that because nobody's gonna do the tattoo on the face and the neck, and you expect to go in the corporate world unless there's some type of entryway for you to get in there, whatever. I think when people do that type of stuff, I don't necessarily saying they're a bad boy or bad girl. I think it's the way they express themselves. And some people are willing to express themselves all the way to the neck. Other people won't go above the chest. You know what I mean? So I mean, it all depends on your awareness. Are you aware of what you plan on doing? Are you unaware? It all depends on which way you're going. It's not where you're from, it's where you're at. And in Hollywood, like you said, who's phony, who's fake? Those are the type of people I hate. You don't know. People are acting all the time. You don't know who to trust. So you have to be aware of yourself. And I think that bad boy image, I think that's getting old because, like Steph said, the standards are changing, and a lot of people are pressing people who are trying to be these bad boys. Why are you being bad? What are you doing to people? Now they trying to follow you around, waiting for you to the next shoe to drop. So you got to be careful with all that type of stuff.
Okay.
Well,
Okay. Go ahead, Chuck.
I was just gonna say the Justin Biebers and the Chris Browns, they're 10 years older now. All right, so they're now they got kids now.
Yep.
They're trying to settle down and have so they're not wilding out anymore. Those are the bad boys that we're kind of talking about. And then with the tattoos and all that, if you're a multimillionaire, you can get tattoos all over. It's not going to affect you. You're good. But if you're still part of the working class or whatever, you can't get tattoos all over your face, especially if you plan on working in corporate America because it's frowned upon. So there's code switching every aspect of life, society. It's all it is. You put on Hollywood, just use it for an example. The whole premise of Hollywood is code switching. It's acting, right? You're acting like something else. So hell, I lost my train of thought, but you understand where I'm going with it.
So, hey, it was about to get deep. I could tell it was about to get deep. So listen, a few weeks back, we did an episode on what we call the Black Utopia, and we talked about all these different things, right? And so, if you haven't heard that one, please go back, check us out, jbampod.com, all your social media areas. But so let me ask this. I want everyone to answer this question. So let's say, so we know that right now that Jay-Z is a billionaire, that Kanye is a billionaire. So let's say tomorrow they opened up Rock Nation Bank. And when you went into Rock Nation Bank, it looked like it was in a building like any other bank, but it looked more like the 40/40 Club. They had ESPN, hip hop music, and everybody working there looked like your cousins from the cookout. You walk in this bank, you go in there and putting $25,000 in this bank?
Probably
I'm
not.
Gonna start with, all right, Chuck, go ahead, start with you.
Because I mean, first impressions are everything. And I mean, that doesn't change. You still want, first impression says a lot. If I'm going to do business with you, can I interact with you? All of that. Yeah. If I come in there, and I see my man over here on the grill, handing out plates and taking deposits. No, I got a problem. I'm probably gonna go down the street, but I'm just saying, appearance is everything. I feel what you're saying.
All right, go ahead, Mike. Same question. You putting your 25 in?
Oh, no doubt. I'll go in. I want to know about the 25. I had to vet them first. I go in there. I would talk to a few people. Customer service, see what they're talking about. Look at some paperwork. I would give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm that dude. I always give somebody the benefit of the doubt because you can't judge a book by a cover. That might be the fake out move. They might want you to think that may look that way, but everybody might be that Princeton dude or whatever, that financial, you don't know. So give them the benefit of the doubt.
They be the same ones robbing you, right? All right.
Listen, give them the benefit of the doubt and give me just one rib.
Steph.
Steph, something, I think about it. If the FDIC insured and I get a better interest rate than I can get at Bank of America or another bank.
No, everything's the same. Everything's the same.
Well, then I may not give him 25,000. I may give him 10,000 and see where we go from there. As long as it's FDIC insured, why not?
There you go.
And I agree with Mike. I want more than one rib though. I need a brisket sandwich.
All right, Charles. They over there by the ATM machine shooting craps. What you doing?
Oh man, come on now. There's no professionalism in that. You know what I mean? There ain't no way in hell I'm doing that. Now, granted, I want to support Black businesses, but what you're describing is just something just over the top. I mean, shooting dice by the ATM machine. Come on, man.
But I'm being extreme for a reason, though. For real.
Charles gonna go to the door and go, "Oh hell no!" and turn back around, get back in the car.
Are you gonna greet us with a glass of Kool-Aid?
Hey, now this is what I do. I'll bank with them online. How about that?
Yeah. Right. So I was being ridiculous on purpose, right? And it was just I was really trying to say is that there are standards that we do. So now you get to a certain level and you got money. I said 25 grand, but a grand is something to somebody, right? So you gonna put your money somewhere. Like, so for me, I'm probably not putting my money in there, but I'll sit down and ask for a loan. Real talk. Say they got money.
Listen, you don't know if you don't try, right?
Hey. So hey, I want to kind of wrap it up here, fellas, and I want to know if anybody had any final thoughts on this balancing between the two worlds, and any words of wisdom we might want to drop on the young heads, or anything we want to share with our audience. Anyone?
The double standard exists. You just need to understand how to balance it. It can be done. We're living proof that you can balance the double standard. It's not fair, but it is what it is. So you got to push forward.
Okay.
Facts.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, whatever environment you're in, just help to bring somebody else up. I've been in so many situations. I've seen people that get theirs and then they forget where they came from.
Mhm.
I think once you elevate to a certain level, I think it's so important for you to reach back and to help somebody else, because 9 times out of 10, someone helped you.
Yep.
And whatever they need to do to maneuver, I mean, and even if the person doesn't ask, because sometimes we see the roadblocks in someone else's way. You know what I mean? And I think it's important that we reach out to help remove those things. If you see a brother or sister going down the wrong path in your environment where you work, pull them to the side, school them a little bit, help them out. Don't just look at it as a situation where I got mine, they got to get theirs. So
There you go.
I'll just
I
leave
would
it there.
say, the biggest wake up call, and we've been dealing with this for a long time. I mean, I come from a multicultural family, and whether people want to talk about it, they don't want to talk about it. I got people from the whole spectrum in my family. We talk about Colombian, white, Peruvian, black, the whole diaspora, whatever they call it, however they call it. I might be pronouncing wrong, my bad. But after the Capitol, that was one of the biggest. We knew stuff was double standard, but after that, that was very frustrating from an 80-year-old on down, because of the stuff that they seen that they had to deal with, and now you have to deal with it. So I'm just saying to any of the younger folks coming up, the young ladies and the young men, there's always going to be a double standard. You just have to do your best. Will you have to work twice as hard? Maybe, maybe not. But you should always have that focus anyway. You should always try to work twice as hard, whether it's a double standard or not, because you should be about your business, because like I said, that reflects of who you are. And I would just say keep your head up, be aware, and if you don't know, ask. You know what I mean? And just do what you need to do.
Okay. All right. Chuck, any parting words of wisdom?
Is this is this drop the mic, or we gonna do drop the mic?
Now we're gonna do drop the mic in just a second.
Yeah, I'll hold off for drop the mic.
All right. So hey, one other thing I just wanted to say, all of us come from an experience in an HBCU, and so it was an opportunity for us to kind of learn about the work. Morgan State.
I'm showing our HBCU, at least one of them.
So
I just want to get this on the mic. Okay, go ahead.
so going to a black college is a good thing, right? And it's for a black person. And I'm just saying it took away a lot of those things that we talked about, walking that line, because everybody is there's no one else there to kind of put against you, right? That you know what I mean? It's a very level playing field. And so that's a good opportunity, a good environment to learn. So I think for anybody, this is not just for black people, this is for any minority. And as Charles mentioned,
Right.
which is very true, very, very true, as a white person, you can't just show up for an interview all tatted up in ripped jeans. You know what I mean? So it's a standard. It's a United States of America, corporate America kind of standard. But you have to, it's a game. And if you're going to be involved in the game, you got to know the rules. It's really that simple. The only alternative is if you get into a position like a Chuck and as an entrepreneur, where you can do your thing, where your product, your service is what it is, and people could care less what you look like, how you dress, what you wear, all that stuff. So those are my final words on that. And I want to move really quickly into our drop the mic segment. We don't have a whole lot of time, but I'd like to give everybody an opportunity to say a couple quick words on what they're thinking about, or just drop a nugget here or there. I'm going to start with you, Mike. Drop the mic.
Well, I think I already dropped my mic in regards to the double standards, in regards to the wake up call, from the Capitol. But my drop the mic would be that in relationships, social behaviors, friendships, know your boundaries, know what you need to do, so you can succeed in friendship and in workship. Drop the mic.
Okay, Steph, what you got?
Hey, real quick, your blood sugar, having a bad day, and the other excuses that are coming up around here with white supremacy. You know something? Damn it, you're terrorists. You've been a terrorist. A lot of you have been terrorists since 1619. Now you come up with poor excuses. All right.
Blood sugar?
So yeah, blood sugar when he called the high school girls.
Got the
Anyway.
sugars?
Yeah, he had the blood sugar, and
Got the
now
beaties.
Yeah, and now we got a dude down in Georgia that was having a bad day, so he killed 8 innocent people. No,
Oh,
no,
hell
no.
no. Nah.
Yeah, yeah. Let's stop making excuses for white terrorism.
Nah.
About
If
Drop the mic.
you got low blood sugar, you grab a lightsaber. That's it. Keep moving.
Well, there you go.
Hey, Chuck. Holla at us, Chuck. Drop the mic.
Yeah. What are you doing to create generational wealth? What are you doing to foster financial literacy in your children? One of the things they don't teach us in school, let me rephrase that. What they teach us in school is how to work for someone else. In our community, we don't get taught stocks, mutual funds, all that good stuff. So my drop the mic is, if you're not doing it, enroll your child in some type of financial literacy course as well as yourself, and prepare them for generational wealth, because that's what's lacking in our community.
Got you. All
Very well
right.
said.
And Charles, what you got?
Stimulus checks. America is going crazy over these stimulus checks. But let me just say this. If you are a non-bill payer, you don't get a stimulus check. You
Hell,
understand?
Yes,
You've been
Now,
stimulated.
What I'm hearing is that
I'm gonna give you 2 thumbs
there
up.
are kids out here that are asking their parents for their stimulus check. And I'm like, hold on. If you living in a house for free, somebody else is feeding you, clothing you, paying for the electricity in the house. I'm sorry, non-bill payer. You do not get a stimulus check. Mic drop.
I like that.
I would
Hey,
stimulate that ass at 3 o'clock in the morning with a belt.
take out some garbage.
That's it.
Yep. So I'm gonna go real quick here, and what I want to speak on real quick is Coming to America. Eddie Murphy's long-awaited movie dropped about a week or so ago, and a lot of people saw it, and a lot of people had a lot of different opinions on it. I think a lot of people tried to compare it to the original of, the original, and it wasn't. It wasn't the original. But I think what you have to appreciate is all the people that were in this movie. There were so many people that you laughed just seeing, like, oh my God, that dude's still here. It was crazy. And so, I must be real honest with you. When I first saw it, my first reaction wasn't really positive. But then when I started hearing some of the hate, I was like, nah, but you can't really hate on it like that. So my mic drop is, we gotta promote our people and the things that they do. The movie world is different. Eddie Murphy was able to make, I think it was $132 million. He sold that for $132 million. Who's laughing? Mic drop.
Right.
All right, that's all we have for tonight. And thank you, everyone, for joining us and staying with us. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms. We're everywhere. Follow us on any streaming service, wherever you get your podcast from. And again, it's Just Be a Man. Go ahead, Chuck.
I was just gonna say, go to YouTube right now. Go to YouTube right now and hit that subscribe button. We need you guys to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Thanks.
Thank you. So as always, thank you. God bless. And Mike, take us out.
Deuces.